chilling in a hotel and I was telling you to get ready for the unexpected. Tell me your first impressions.
Oh, amazing. I mean, they just do everything on a big scale, the Saudis, don't they? I was here for Fury and Ngannou, and it just seems to get bigger and bigger every time I come back.
Matt, what words of advice do you pass on to Carl as to get ready for this unexpected week that we've got ahead of us?
He's just lucky he missed the heat last night, man. It was unbelievable up here.
It was scorching.
Yeah, Monday, Tuesday, it was hot, but it was okay.
Just cooler than last night.
A lot cooler.
I'm struggling already, I have to tell you that now, boys.
I want to know from both the fighters' perspective, because you both have sat in massive bills, you've both sat in massive occasions. What happens at this moment in terms of mentally? How do the fighters feel at the final press conference?
I mean, I don't think they'll be too nervous at this stage. I think for me anyway, it was only on fight day when the real nerves kicked in. The difference between me and these guys was I had two battles, one to make weight and then the fight. So once the making weight was over, then you start to get ready for the fight. So these guys will be relaxed, I imagine, at this stage, and maybe as the fight gets a little bit closer. Fight day probably is when the nerves really start to kick in.
Matt, you agree? Is it relaxation at this stage?
Yeah, look, these are veterans of it. You know, they're not going to toot. This isn't their first rodeo. They'll be. That said, it's a huge fight, but you're nervous for every fight along the way because when it builds you. Like Carl said, I think heavyweights have that luxury. They don't have to struggle with weight. Look, they might get into it a little bit at a press conference, mate, but I think they're so used to it by now that they'll just switch on in the changing rooms.
It's so interesting you say that, because do you feel like you've seen a difference in tone of Tyson Fury this week? Do you feel like you've seen a difference in the tone of Tyson Fury this week? In terms of before it was jives, maybe a little bit of insults, maybe a little bit of jovial.
Yeah,
it seems quite businesslike.
I think with Fury, with Usyk, he knows that trying to shout him down, boom, that's not going to work. You know what I mean? So there's no point wasting his energy on it. Also, you know, maybe he reflects back on the Ngannou fight, which he definitely overlooked. It was a poor performance. That might be the worst thing that could have happened for Usyk, because now Fury's on it. Do you know what I mean? And actually, he's going around this week talking Usyk up, maybe just to subconsciously remind himself, you know, you could lose this fight if you're not on your game.
It's so interesting you say that as well, because I spoke to Tommy Fury yesterday and he spoke about Tyson raises himself to the bigger occasions. Yeah. The more people that write him off is the better he seems to get. Do you agree that Tyson manages to do?
I mean, you have to say that's happened over his career. There's been big performances against Klitschko, big performances against Wilder, the two biggest names that he's fought, and everything else he kind of goes through the motions. He wins the fights, but look, Chisora went through the motions, Dillian Whyte went through the motions, then knocked him out in the 6th round. Ngannou, I don't believe I mean, when you've got the whole world and their granny saying it's going to be an easy fight, you start to believe it yourself, and I just think he took him too lightly. If Tyson Fury is at his best, I mean, I don't think there's a heavyweight on the planet can beat him.
That's such an interesting concept, because all week I feel like all the build-up, even prelude to our first arrangement of the day, everything was he's a middleweight. He's not going to be able to use his size. He's not going to be able to utilise those natural advantages that he's been given. We're now here, and the tone seems to have changed. I looked at that man yesterday in that ring during the open workout. He's a full-fledged heavyweight.
Usyk, yeah, he's a big guy. He's a big guy, but he's coming up to the weight. So certainly Fury's going to be the biggest man that he's ever faced, and I think that will cause problems for him. I love Usyk. I love his movement. I love everything about him, his character and his persona. But I just think you combine both fighters' attributes. What Fury has really, and his advantage is his size and his height.
Is this the first time Tyson Fury has been up against an opponent who is not going to buy into his mind games, not going to buy into the press conferences and sort of the ordeal that goes into a fight before the actual fight?
Yeah, look, Fury's very good at sort of already getting ahead, isn't he? You know, in the psychological warfare, in the build-up to the fight, he shuts them down, he gets in them. He hasn't had that this time. But so now we're just down to the two. Who's the best boxer? And like Carl said, I think that Usyk has to box absolutely out of his skin, better than he's ever boxed before.
Okay.
And Fury's probably got to get it a little bit wrong for Usyk to win. That's possible, that can happen, you know what I mean? But I think you have to say Fury's the favourite.
I love the comments and I love the social media and sort of the perspective that everyone seems to be given, which is the form is an important factor here. Ngannou was obviously we'll say it was a blip, even though he managed to get the win. How much is the form and the confidence of that performance going to affect Tyson Fury?
I don't know. I think you have to forget about that fight, really. As I said, I mean, Tyson really hasn't come out and said it, but I don't believe. You look at the shape of him in that fight, I just don't believe that he trained properly. Look at the shape of him now. I think this is going to be a much better, and it'll need to be a much better performance to beat Usyk, but I think we'll see that.
Do you know what? I actually think that the Ngannou performance was the worst thing that could have happened for Usyk.
Yeah.
because now, you know, there was lots of distractions, and you know, maybe there would have been going into this one, because you can get into that headspace, can't you? But that's all out the window. Fury, you could see him yesterday at the workouts. You know, he was only moving around and he wasn't burning any energy or anything, but he just looked like a guy who was focused. Yeah. Do you know what I mean?
When you talk about some of the all-time greats, especially in the heavyweight and even the cruiserweight division, that man right there, Evander Holyfield, shaking hands, and that shows you the spectacle of the event. I mean, I know Lennox is in the house, I know Mike Tyson's expected to be here. That shows you in terms of the magnitude of what we're actually getting ready for on Saturday night.
I mean, everybody wants to see us fight, whether you're a boxing fan or a sports fan in general. Like, I mean, you call this, to say this is work what we're doing, but I would have done this for free. Maybe don't tell anyone that. Maybe I would. I don't know. But no, I mean, it's an honour and a privilege to be at such a huge occasion. I don't think we can kind of. I mean, the magnitude of this fight for our sport, to have an undisputed champion since the first one since Lennox Lewis, it's absolutely massive.
25 years. It's a long time. It's a lot of people's lifetime that's here as a media today. We've had to wait so long, and there's a reason why we've had to wait so long, especially when you talk about the heavyweight division and how long it takes as the leading division in boxing. When you turn around and put that all together, 25 years, and how long we're having to wait for something that's so special, how are you feeling now going into it Saturday night?
You know, politics for one, and then things that are out of people's control as well. Like you go back to 2019, Madison Square Garden, Anthony Joshua, Andy Ruiz. There was talk about that all that week. There was talk about the Wilder fights and the Fury fights. They were looking to try and make undisputed then. Here we are 5 years down the line, and it's only happening. It's took that, you know, because things change. Not everyone wins. Upsets happen. You know, here we are, thankfully, and this is the first of the 4-belt era, and it's the first undisputed for a generation, you know, 25 years.
You talked about it, Matthew mentioned it, like politics involved. Fighters will fight, and most of them will fight, and if they get the opportunity to fight for undisputed titles, they will do it if they're being paid correctly and everything else. Fighters want to fight, but the things that go on in the background is sometimes what stops the unification fights.
I'd love to know your perspective, both of your perspective, in terms of how boxing is feeling right now. I feel like we're getting the magnitude of these fights all of the time. We were just here for Day of Reckoning. We were just talking about the crossover fight between Fury and Ngannou. Has boxing ever flourished like this?
Not in recent times. I mean, I think we're thriving at the minute, and boxing's in a really healthy place, and a lot of it's to do with the money the Saudis are pumping into the sport. And I mean, at the minute, I don't remember the last time we've got 3 undisputed champions. Now we've got Crawford, Inoue, and well, there's going to be one
on Saturday night.
There's going to be one on Saturday night. I don't remember the last time there was 3 undisputed champions.
We almost had 4. If of course the fight that's postponed on the 1st of June, we would have had 4.
Yeah, so Beterbiev and Bivol as well. So boxing's thriving at the minute.
It's incredible. What's your perspective now? I mean, look how long you've been in the game, how many years you've given to the game, and looking at the state that boxing's in right now, have you ever seen it flourish like this?
No, it's healthy. I think, you know, it's a little bit fragmented because there's loads of channels. But isn't it good that there's loads of boxing on television? You know, so people complain and say, I've got to have this, that and that. You know what I mean? And I get it, but like,
I know what you mean though.
But there's lots of boxing on television, so if you're a boxer right now, purses are high.
Yeah.
There's television, big television interest, doing bigger gates than they ever done. You know, it's a great time for boxing, very healthy.
Okay, so what can the fans expect today? I mean, the press conference, this is the last official press conference, the last time these two will probably communicate.
They're focused for weeks of training, but they really get focused now on the job, and at the same time as conserving energy. You know what I mean? Yeah. It's getting that sweet spot. You're switched on, but you're relaxed. And
this can be seen as a neutral venue for both guys. So I mean, Usyk has done a lot on the road in the opponent's backyard, especially as a cruiserweight, and he's won big fights. I don't think it's going to faze him at all.
I'd love to know both your thoughts and your perspectives on, when I knew Oleksandr Usyk was something very different, I think back to AJ the first time round, and he came in with the space helmet, and you think about what the fans are like back home in terms of the UK. He seemed to block all of that out going into the ring and was super focused. Are you expecting someone along the same lines?
Yeah, I mean, he'll have to be. I mean, again, the AJ fight was a huge fight for Usyk. He was a former cruiserweight undisputed champion. He came up, and a lot of people fancied AJ in that fight just because of his size. Usyk showed what he was all about. He'll be switched on, and he'll be ready, and he'll be focused, but as will Tyson Fury.
I want to know in terms of how you feel about what Usyk's perspective's been this week. I know he came up here on the stream yesterday, gave you a few words. What's the sort of energy you're receiving from Oleksandr?
With Tyson?
Oleksandr.
Oh, Oleksandr. I think he's fired up, very, very motivated. Really motivated. He mentioned about, because he talked about the Ukraine war and everything as well, and I think he's using that to give him even more fuel to the fire. But he's too experienced to get overwhelmed, or to let it get a hold of him. He's channeling that energy. Look, we're going to see the best Oleksandr Usyk we've ever seen, I believe, and it's going to have to be if he's going to get the win.
Like I said, 25 years we've waited for a spectacle and an occasion like this to be crowned the undisputed heavyweight champion. A man that knows what this occasion means and what to do in these type of fights is a man that's called the real deal, Evander Holyfield. We just caught up with him a second ago. If only it works out exactly the way you wanted to plan out. Unfortunately, we couldn't hear from the real deal Holyfield, but no doubt about it, we'll try and see if we can get some words from him later on in the show. I just want to take it in because I know you've spoken or seen Lennox in terms of being around this week. Everyone's seen the social media clips, and he'll know what it's like and to be this occasion. But I heard him say something, which is, when you're the undisputed heavyweight champion, you feel like the baddest man on the planet. Is that the aura and the energy
I imagine. I mean, I can't really answer it because I've never been the undisputed heavyweight champion. But in my opinion, and I will say this because I'm a boxing fan, but I think if you're a rational thinking sports fan, the heavyweight champion of the world, I think, is still the greatest praise in sport. And then they should be walking around with their chest puffed out, and they are, in my opinion, maybe the UFC guys will disagree, but I think the heavyweight champion of the world it's the greatest praise in sport.
If you're on the undercard here and you're preparing to turn around and get yourself ready for your own occasion, your own fight, I think about Cordina Kakachi, I think about Moses Atalma. How do you prepare for it? How do you turn around and lock yourself in? I know everyone's on their own journey, but how do you ignore all of the noise and make sure you still focus on the job you have?
I don't think you need to ignore it. You just take it in, and because don't forget as well, these younger fighters, this is preparing them for when they progress. Because you develop as a fighter, but you've got to develop as a star as well, and you get used to the press conference and the media workouts. And it might be your first time doing it, so that when you do get up there, you're not overwhelmed, overawed by it. So look, boxing's a funny sport. We're quite self-centered. We're pretty good at getting it back to ourselves. Let me tell you.
Would you say that's a fair reflection in terms of the way they have to block out the noise?
Yeah, I think so. Look, I mean, this is going to be. Well, it's the biggest fight for the two guys that are topping the bill, Fury and Usyk, so certainly it's going to be the biggest fight any of the undercard have been involved in it by such a stretch. But I think you're right, Matt. Like, this is just preparing these kids, the winners and maybe the losers as well, for bigger fights down the line. But stuff like this doesn't happen too often, so I know there'll be a lot of them will have soaked this up. They'll not want to go back to leisure centres or anything like that, so they'll want to be a part of the big time and they'll want to stay here.
When you think about just looking over your shoulder, gents, and the world media that's here, I see the fat crowd that's turned around and accumulating over there, and the cameraman can't get themselves a position over here. The nerves, the animosity, the anxiety, everything is so on the sky high. How do you expect this press conference part one to play out?
I'm not sure. We'll see. I think there's a few big characters even on the undercard as well, and they've maybe been overshadowed a wee bit just because of the magnitude of the main fight. But I think guys will be respectful. Most of the guys are respectful, but there's a few characters, so we'll get a few sound bites, I'm sure.
We will definitely get a few sound bites. One other person that can guarantee sound bites is Dev Sani, so we can throw down to him now as we get ready.
Welcome to Riyadh and welcome to history. On Saturday night, right here in the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, we will crown the first undisputed World Heavyweight Champion of the century. The unbeaten WBC and lineal World Heavyweight Champion Tyson Fury finally collides with the unbeaten unified World Heavyweight Champion Oleksandr Usyk. The two men will meet in a ring of fire with every major heavyweight title on the line. It simply doesn't get bigger. Now, this historic event will take place as part of Riyadh season and will be one of those special moments in time in which the world stops still and all eyes will descend on the sold-out Kingdom Arena on Saturday night. This is truly one of those special events. Now let's talk about the relationship currently between Riyadh and big-time boxing. This has been unbelievable. By the beginning of June, 5 of the biggest boxing events in recent years would have taken place right here in Riyadh. It all started with the Battle of the Baddest back in October last year. Tyson Fury against Francis Ngannou. Who can forget the promo? Who can forget the fight week? Who can forget the fight night? We then moved on to December 23rd, the day of reckoning. Deontay Wilder, Anthony Joshua in separate fights with a star-studded undercard on a night full of twists and turns. Anthony Joshua returned back in March with knockout chaos. He took on Francis Ngannou. And, well, it was quite appropriate calling that event Knockout Chaos. It was a hell of a knockout that we saw that night. And we'll be back in a couple of weeks, June 1st. Frank Warren versus Eddie Hearn. Queensberry versus Matchroom, 5 versus 5. These two UK promoters who've got this deep-rooted rivalry will pick 5 of their very best and pit them against each other. Now, of course, the reason we're here today is because of the Ring of Fire, and I think it's quite safe to say we have entered a golden era of boxing, and Riyadh has become the global destination for big-time fight nights. Now, we're going to split today into 3 press conferences, and before we speak to everybody at this top table, we must take a moment to thank those involved in making these groundbreaking events possible, and what a privilege it is to be working on such a historic fight card as part of Riyadh season. We'd like to express our heartfelt thanks to the custodian of the 2 holy mosques, King Salman bin Abdulaziz. And to His Royal Highness, the Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman. And, of course, to His Excellency, the Chairman of GIA, Turki Al-Sheikh. And, of course, a huge thank you to all of the teams of GIA, Riyadh Season and Seller as we continue to work together to deliver unforgettable nights in the Kingdom. Now, this historic fight event will be presented to fans worldwide by Frank Warren for Queensberry Promotions and Bob Arum for Top Rank Incorporated, in conjunction with Riyadh Season, National Events Centre, the General Entertainment Authority, Gold Star Promotions, K2 Promotions and Seller. Well, let's have a chat. Let's speak to the people at this top table. Let's begin with Hall of Fame boxing promoter Frank Warren. Now, Frank, we'll go into detail about Fury versus Usyk a little bit later on, but I want to get your kind of opening thoughts on the undercard here, and notably, you've got Mark Chamberlain and Moses Atauma, 2 guys that you represent. Give us your opening thoughts, Frank.
Well, this is a fabulous undercard on the most important fight of the 21st century here in Riyadh, as part of the Riyadh season. This is an amazing show. And as Deb just said, two of the young guys I work with, Mark Chamberlain, who's fought here before, it's his second fight here. He's now fighting for the vacant WBC silver title. And we've got Moses Tama, who's 8-0, he just had to disappear for a moment, he's had a bit of a nosebleed. He's just 19 years of age, which he was still a teenager. And he's 8-0 and he's had first fighting for his first title, which is an amazing achievement for somebody, certainly at a heavyweight, of his age. We've got some other great fighters on the card. We've got two top young talents in Australia, in David Nyika, I think I pronounced that correctly, and he's a member of Team Usyk, and we've got Daniel Lapin. So this is, again, a really good competitive fight. And then we've got Tyson's best mate, Isaac Lowe, 10-rounder, former light champion, lightweight champion, former champion, got it for a featherweight champion, and he's in a really, really good competitive fight. So we're looking forward to him. And then, of course, we've got a great fight, ex-champion coming on in Sergey Kovalev, one of my favourite fighters. He's beaten a few of my fighters on the way, and he's making his comeback. And got his manager next to him. He's also the manager of Mr. Usyk. So we've got a really good, cracking undercard. I'm looking forward to it. You'll look forward to it. It's going to be the hors d'oeuvres before the big event.
Great stuff, Frank. Love that line at the end. Let's speak to some of this table. I'm going to start with David and Nyika. David, unbeaten at cruiserweight, a real big deal over in New Zealand. But I guess this is the shop window to the world. Everything's going well so far. This is the opportunity to really break out, David.
Yeah, first of all, I'd like to thank His Excellency Turki Al-Ashik for this opportunity. Second of all, I'd like to thank the IBF for sanctioning my bout. This is my opportunity to splash onto the big scene. Once I get through Michael's seats, I've got the likes of perhaps Sergey Kovalev, Robin Safar. If they win their fights, I'd like to fight them next. Whoever's left on that list, I need to keep making my step towards that IBF world title. And whoever wins that card, that title, that is my target.
Brilliant stuff. We look forward to it. You're taking on an unbeaten cruiserweight on Saturday. Do not miss that one. Let's keep things moving. Daniel Lapin, unbeaten light heavyweight. A big opportunity for you. Of course, Daniel, you have boxed on so many Oleksandr Usyk undercards. We see you in all the pictures with Oleksandr Usyk. Tell us, this must be the most special event so far.
Hello guys, хочу сказать большое спасибо для начала Саудовской Аравии за теплый прием. Это большая возможность, спасибо за такую возможность, что дали отбоксировать на этом вечере бокса. Мы прошли большой путь с Александром, 6 месяцев тяжелых, очень тяжелых тренировок, и я буду выкладываться на все 100%.
First of all, I want to appreciate everybody who involved in this process for the really good and big event. And I have a hard and long training camp, and I'm ready for 100%. And I want to say thank you for every people of Saudi Arabia and His Excellency for this opportunity. It's a really big opportunity for me.
Thank you very much, Daniel Lapin. We look forward to your contest taking on Octavia Hudavita on Saturday night. Let's now move to a man very much part of Team Fury, as Frank introduced him earlier, Isaac Lowe. Now, Isaac, all these photos that we see go out of Tyson, where everyone's saying, look at the great shape that Tyson Fury's in. Well, you're right next to him. You're in pretty great shape too. And I guess this is a chance for you to start getting things moving again. You've only lost in very good company. What's on your mind, Isaac Lowe?
Yeah, definitely. We've had a great training camp. I'm in the shape of my life, thanks to Greg, who's got me and Tyson in fantastic condition. And I think on Saturday night, if we put a great performance, I'm planning to create best performance. And then I'm back on the world stage, and back where I need to be, back in the mix for titles. As you said, I've only up 2 defeats, so I've been beat by Lopez and Nick Bold. One's the IBF world champion, and one just got beat. Oh well, he could have eaten. Some people give him it for the WBC. So I've only lost in very good company, and I intend to get back up there, mix with them again, and this time make sure I win them.
Brilliant stuff, Isaac, the Westgate Warrior here in Riyadh. Let's talk to Moses Itauma. Moses, this is the second fight for you in Riyadh now. I think people are expecting one day you too will probably challenge for undisputed as well. It's your first title on this show. What's going on in the mind of Moses Itauma?
No, just getting ready. I just want to thank my promoter, Frank Warren, His Excellency Turkey Al-Sheikh, and my manager Francis to give me this opportunity to box on this big stage, and I'm definitely going to make the most of it.
Plenty of first round knockouts in a row. We're going to get another one on Saturday.
100%.
Thank you, Moses Italma. There you go. We'll hold you to that. Let's move on to a WBC Silver Lightweight Championship contest between Mark Chamberlain and Joshua Wahab. I'm going to start with Joshua Wahab here. It's a big stage for you, Joshua, against a man who is very much seen as a bit of a favourite around these parts, a tough guy. Tell us how you're feeling heading into this fight.
First of all, I want to give thanks to Almighty Allah, and I want to thank His Excellency Tuki. And it's a big opportunity for me to be here today, and I'll prepare myself so well for this fight. I've studied my opponent, and I had a great crowd, and I believe on Saturday night people will know who is truly Wahab is.
Okay, well, let's speak to Mark Chamberlain. Mark, Joshua Wahab says on Saturday night we're going to know who he is. We already know who you are, a real favourite around here. This is a tough fight. This is a proper fight for a proper title.
Yeah, most definitely. I'm pleased to be back here. Big shout out to His Excellency and my manager and promoter Frank Warren for delivering this opportunity for me. Being part of this big platform is massive. But on Saturday night we'll see why I'm taking part in these big events, and we will continue the winning streak.
Okay, fantastic stuff, Mark Chamberlain. We're looking forward to that. It was a great performance last time out. Let's now talk about the fight at cruiserweight, the return of the crusher, Sergey Kovalev, who takes on Rob Safar at the end of the table there. Before we speak to the fighters, let's bring in Egis Klimas here. And Egis, I just want to know, what is the plan right now with Sergey Kovalev? You know, a few years ago he was just a reigning terror in the light heavyweight division. What's the plan now?
Hello, Riyadh. Hello, people. Very happy to be here. And I would like to know that too. We haven't been in the ring for 2 years. Sergey was fighting, last fight he was in May 2022. 2024 is exactly 15 years ago then we started with Sergey his professional career. He did a lot and he proved a lot in the cruiserweight division. Then we started the he came in and started pro in the cruiserweight division. Light heavyweight division. I told Sergey, not much to do here, the division is dead. And he goes like, well, give me a few fights and we will see. We will bring it back division where it's supposed to be. Now, he said, I told him same thing. I said, look, the cruiserweight division is not what much. And he asked me again, give me a few fights. Let's do that together. So I'm looking very much forward on Saturday night. What he has left, many people write him out already, what he is not supposed to be fighting. But he proved me with what his training, his discipline, his regime, what he belongs back in the ring and to show where he belongs. Thanks Saudi Arabia, Crown Prince, King, His Excellency for letting us to bring Sergey and show to the boxing world where he belongs to. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Egis Klimas. Let's speak to Rob Safar. Rob Safar, I know you came to boxing a little bit later, and what a stage for you to come to. Tell us what's going on, and also, has the crusher still got it? What do you think?
First of all, I want to start saying Alhamdulillah, Allahu Akbar. I'm so happy to be a part of this event. You know, I can't really describe how excited I am. And to be able to fight a name like Sergey Kovalev and basically having my breakthrough at a moment like this, you know, it couldn't be better. You know, I've been sweating a lot, I've been bleeding a lot, I've been sacrificing so much in my life. So it's like, I just feel like it's my time right now, you know, it's my time to shine, you know.
Well, Sergey Kovalev was watching you for your entire, everything you said there. I wonder if you want to look down the table and give him a message.
What do you mean?
Do you want to say anything to Sergey Kovalev?
I'm going to win. On Saturday, I'm going to win. I'm going to break you. I'll give you 7 rounds. That's it.
Well, let's bring in the Crusher. 7 rounds apparently, but tell us a little bit about this fight, and also, what is the goal now for Sergey Kovalev? Let us know.
Hi everyone, hi Riyadh. I'm very happy to be here, like a part of this great show, and thanks personal to my manager, Egis Klimas, and Turkey Alashik for opportunity that I here for the fight, and also to Oleksandr Usyk for this great show. I'm very happy to I'm very happy back to business. A long time I didn't fight, like more than for 4 years. One fight is for me very long rest. But I kept my body in the shape, and I'm ready. And this Saturday will be my night. Thank you very much for everything, and good luck everyone.
Thank you very much, Sergey Kovalev. It's got a bit of windy up here. That concludes part 1 of today's 3-part press conference. We're going to get some photos and some face-offs down the front, and we'll be back very shortly. Thank you.
Part 1 complete. Devsani kicking us off in the only way that he knows how, which is expectations and excitement, everything else in between. It was great. I like Frank as well. Frank had nice energy up there. He seemed like he's really enjoying the spectacle and getting used to these Saudi experiences. Just tell me your takeaway in terms of some of the fighters up there and what you saw.
I mean, it was very respectful. There was zero needle. But that doesn't mean anything on fight night. It doesn't mean that any fighter are going to take their foot off the pedal or anything like that. These guys will all want to win. But I mean, that's what you expect. The undercard, I suppose they haven't had the chance to kind of get stuck into each other just because of the magnitude of the main fight. But that's kind of what I expected.
Subbing Andy Clark. Nice to see you as well. I see you working so hard all week, man. Just tell me first of all your first takeaways in terms of the first part of the press conference.
I enjoyed what David Noyika had to say, because saying immediately, look, I want to fight the winner of that fight, these two at this table, Kovalev and Safar, that's kind of...
Kovalev sitting next to him as well.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. I mean, that takes some bottle, and also that's kind of what they want here. They want fighters who are going to pick out their next fight and say, okay, we're both on this card, let's win our fights, and then I'll fight you. Either of you two, because that's what's happened, doesn't it? You know, you look at Caballo and Sanchez later on, they both won their fights last time out, and here they are fighting each other. It's that kind of winner stays on mentality, and they definitely want to encourage that here. So if I was guiding any fighter, bringing them to a card like this, on the undercard I'd be saying, win your fight and call someone else on this card out if you can. You have to have somebody at your weight, obviously.
Now, this is not one to bring up age, because age is never really a factor when it comes to fighting. If you really know the history, you know the history. But Sergey Kovalev, 41 years old, are you concerned about how much is left in there?
Yeah, you have to be. You have to be. You really need to be close to people and know what their motivation for continuing is. He should have made a lot of money, but people don't always manage to keep hold of it. He might need it in his life for other reasons of personal self-discipline. I know he's been training up in the mountains with the Uzbek national team. He's got Ruslan Telimbayev, the Uzbek national amateur team coach, in his corner, so I'm thinking he's got back on the straight and narrow. It was funny, you know, I was saying this to Carl a couple of minutes ago. On Monday, doing all the sit-downs and everything, he kind of passed unnoticed, Kovalev.
Yes.
And I was looking at him just thinking, wow, this guy, not that long ago, he was the man. He was the most destructive force in world boxing.
And that's so interesting. That shows you how quickly the dynamic can change, especially in that division, but fighting in a new division. Now, what he did say to me was, way more comfortable. The weight is a lot more easier for me at this stage of my career. I feel like I can still translate my power, but I'm way more comfortable in terms of my preparation.
Look, he was a big punching fighter in his prime. He used to knock people out for sport, so going up a division 9, a new division, he's still going to hurt you if he hits you, and that's the last thing that goes in a fighter. Maybe his timing's not as good as it once was, maybe his feet aren't as good as they once were, maybe his reflex aren't as good as they once were, but the punch power is definitely still there.
The Saudi experience just continues to give us expectations. We've gone from extreme heat to now uncontrollable winds. That shows you everything else. But tell me what you thought about Moses up there. Moses Atama, 19 years old, on the other scale to Kovalev in terms of just starting the embryonic stages of his career. What are you taking in terms of what those early thoughts are?
Well, what I've seen from him so far is, it's a cliche, but he does have an old head on young shoulders. And what he's done since his last fight is he's taken a hard decision as a teenager, which is to split from his old amateur coach and go with Ben Davison. That is not an easy thing to do.
No.
You know, that shows a maturity, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does, absolutely.
To identify that early on, that, okay, I love you and thank you for everything you've done, but I don't think you can take me where I need to go. I'm moving on. That's difficult.
Yeah, and I mean, he's a big prospect as well. It's something even when I was looking at it from the outside, obviously the amateur trainers done a good enough job to get him in that position that he was, but you're just kind of thinking maybe he needs to be with a more established, experienced trainer to get to the next level. Maybe even someone like Frank has been in his ear and made that suggestion for him, who knows, but I think it's probably a sensible thing that he's done.
Do we have to give that relationship time in terms of with any trainer and a new fighter, that time to develop?
Yeah, of course you do. You let them gel with each other, let them get to know each other as well, which is really important. It's important for the trainer to know the fighter's strengths and weaknesses. But this kid, I think, I mean, we're talking about superstars here at the top of the bill, but there's a good chance Moses Atama could be topping bills like this, of this magnitude, at some point in the future.
For all those that haven't seen, please go and do your research into what Mike Tyson said about Moses Atama when they met last time they were here in Saudi. That will tell you everything you need to know about that prospect. But I have a final question from you. When you think about Ben Davison now and the quality that's in that Ben Davison Performance Center, the amount of champions that's in there consistently over and over again, fighters are selfish people, naturally. Is there an element of maybe wanting to own that time, maybe wanting to turn around and maybe find yourself?
that can cause issues, but I mean, I know Ben's a good coach. I know he's got a good team around him as well, and that's why people want to go to him. And these are one of the things you're going to have to deal with as a fighter, going to a busy gym with a lot of other good fighters. But I imagine he can manage it pretty well. He probably has certain slots for each guy. And I imagine it's probably going smoothly enough.
Andy, I also want to get your thoughts on Mark Chamberlain. Seems to be His Excellency is one of his favourites. Always here in Saudi, always seemed to be prospect here. Now fighting for a belt as well, WBC silver. What could he turn around and expect from him?
He's a natural puncher. Carl would have seen him ringside lots. I saw him ringside first time, the last time that he boxed here, and he can really crack, and that's such a big advantage because there's the obvious reason that you can punch hard, but you can do it without really expending too much effort. It's just the greatest double whammy you can have.
Short, sharp, and to the point. Now we can head back to there for part 2, the same press conference.
Look at this top table. There are so many brilliant fights coming up on Saturday night that we've had to do 3 presses. Let's talk about the unbeaten heavyweights. 24-0 versus 24-0. Ajit Kabayel takes on Frank Sanchez. It's a final eliminator for the WBC World Heavyweight Championship. Frank Sanchez, I'm going to start with you. This is a big challenge. You were very impressive last time. What can we expect from Frank Sanchez on Saturday night against Ajit Kabayel?
Nada, vamos a ver al Frank de siempre. Vengo a ganar. Tuve muy buena preparación.
You will see also the same Frank. I come out of the good preparation for this fight.
Y nada, hacer el mismo trabajo que siempre he hecho. Voy a hacer como quiera, voy a ser el campeón.
I'm going to do the same job that I've always been doing it, and I'm going to become a world champion.
Y agradecido con Turkey, con todo lo que tiene que ver con esto para.
And I appreciate very much with the Turkish and the whole people for this event for being a participant on this fight.
Thank you, Frank Sanchez. Let's hear from his opponent, also unbeaten, almost an identical record, Ajit Kabayel. Last time, you beat Makhmudov. They called him the Lion. You tamed the Lion. What about this guy? Very, very difficult fight. Tell us what you're thinking.
Yes, of course. First of all, Salam Alaikum, Saudi Arabia. Thank you for the great opportunity. Yes, the next opponent is Frank Sanchez. He is a good boxer. He has a good Cuban style. I'm ready for the challenge.
And how do you see it going on Saturday?
Yeah, we will see in the ring, you know. I hate prediction, I hate trash talk, you know, in this game. I'm humble. We will see on Saturday night.
Thank you, Ajit. We know your fists do the talking. They certainly did so last time. Let's bring in promoter Eddie Hearn here. Now, Eddie, you've got 2 matchroom fighters on this show. J.R. Pataya sat next to you, Joe Cordina, both in world title action. Give us your thoughts heading into Saturday.
Well, good evening, Riyadh. Assalamu alaikum as well. And what a moment for boxing here this Saturday, the Undisputed Heavyweight World Championship. And as always, His Excellency has put on an incredible show. You know, the first press conference you did was impressive. Look at this one. I mean, the fight between Frank Sanchez and Ajit Kabayel is a fight that only His Excellency could make. 2 tremendous heavyweights. And the 2 guys to my right in my opinion, the #1 in their respective division. Joe Cordina, the best 130-pounder in the world today. The epic knockout over Agawa, unfairly stripped of his title, came back, beat Rakimov to strip him of his world championship as well. A great fight against Anthony Kakachi as we warm up for the 5v5, looking to get a big start for Matchroom with a 1-0 over Queensbury in that fight. And the guy to my right has been a revelation. Shout out as well, of course, to Mick Francis and Tasman Fighters. This guy, I think right now, one of the most exciting pound-for-pound fighters on the planet. 2 great wins against 2 very good domestic British heavyweights, but now he's in with an elite guy who he shared a ring with. And if you haven't seen Opataya against Bradis 1, make sure you watch it back, because it was brutal. And you're going to see another emphatic performance from the man to my right on Saturday as he establishes himself as one of the greatest fighters on the planet. So for us, the 2 best fighters in their respective division, ready to shine on an incredible stage in Riyadh. Thank you, everybody, for your involvement. Of course, thank you, His Excellency. We can't wait to be back here in 2 weeks for the 5v5. But what a night, what a moment in history on Saturday night here in Riyadh. And good luck to everybody involved.
Thank you very much, Eddie Hearn. Let's talk about this IBF and IBO World Super Featherweight Championship clash. We talked about Queensbury versus Matchroom coming up. This is a real taste of that. I'm going to bring in Hall of Fame boxing promoter Frank Warren here. You are the promoter of Anthony Kakachi. He takes on Joe Cordina on Saturday. Give us your thoughts on what a little bit of extra spice with Queensbury versus Matchroom.
Well, it's a lot of spice. They're 2 undefeated fighters to start with, and one holds the IBF title, Joe Cordina, who's an exceptional British fighter, and we've got another British fighter who we look after, Anthony Kakachi. And this has got good fight written all over it. It's a domestic fight, a good domestic fight as far as Britain's concerned, but it's a great international fight. And I think all the boxing fans here are going to be enthralled by what takes place between these 2 guys. They're 2 quality fighters, and the little cherry on top of the cake, it's Queensbury v Matchroom.
Thank you, Frank. So you're going to go 1-0 up early, is that the plan?
That's the name of the game. We want to get the advantage to start with, because we got the big one on the 1st of June, 5v5. I mean, you've never seen so many good shows and good fights coming along so quickly, one after the other. This is a privilege to be here, to be involved in this.
Thank you very much. Let's speak to Anthony the Apache Kakachi. Now, Anthony, you have waited and waited. There have been setbacks, there have been highs, there have been lows, but now you are just days away from challenging for the IBF World Super Featherweight title. How are you feeling?
Listen, I'm buzzing. What an opportunity on such a big card. I would like to say thank you very much to Simon Legg, Queensbury Promotions, Frank Warren taking over the show here recently, so I mean, I'm just privileged to be on this show.
He's unbeaten, of course, Joe Cordina. What can you do differently to all of his other opponents?
Listen, I'm here for a fight. You know, I know all about Joe Cordina. I know his strengths, I know his weaknesses. I've waited 12 years as a pro for an opportunity like this, and it's finally arrived, and it's arrived on the biggest stage in world boxing for God knows how many years. So I'm very appreciative to be here, and I'm here to win.
Thank you very much, Anthony. Now, Joe Cordina, you've heard Anthony Kakachi there talking about how long he's waited. This is the 3rd defence of your world title. Hard fight for you, right?
Yeah, first of all, I want to thank Eddie Hearn, Matchroom, Frank Warren, Queensbury, and Gold Star, and most of all, Your Excellency. But yeah, it's a massive stage to showcase my talent on. It's a big fight. For years, I thought me and Anthony at one stage are going to cross paths, and we're here now. So I'm looking forward to a tough fight, and I'm looking forward to sharing the ring with him.
I've heard you say, Joe, that you do everything better than him. Do you stand by that?
Yeah, of course. I believe in my ability in the same way you believe in his ability. He believes he knows my weaknesses. I believe I know his, and vice versa with the strength. So yeah, it's going to be a good fight, and I'm looking forward to it.
Thank you very much, Joe Cordina. Thank you, Anthony Kakachi. World title action on Saturday night. Let's move to the cruiserweights. We've got a thrilling rematch, and I agree with Eddie. If you haven't seen the first fight, go and watch it. Watch it back. Jai Opataya and Maris Bradis. Let's first speak to Kalle Sauerland. Kalle, of course, he's very much your man here, Mr. Bradis. State your case. How is he going to get his belt back?
Well,
First of all, congratulations to everyone involved in putting on this very historic event. His Excellency, Dr. Rick Khan, Queensbury Matchroom, all the promoters involved. But just look at the first row down here. Evander Holyfield, Lennox Lewis, and 25 years ago, gentlemen, we run it back this weekend. That's a big round of applause, because they're sitting there. That's history. That's what they're making this weekend. But it's also the reason why a gladiator like Maurice Breedis, not one-time world champion, not two-time world champion, but three-time world champion, is on Saturday night going to absolutely state his case why he's the cruiserweight to beat. Jai Opetaia very much being hyped in the build-up to this, and totally get that. Watch the first fight back. The older man, he didn't win the first 6 rounds. He battled him pillar to post in the second 6 rounds. So the age argument goes out the window. We've got a fantastic cruiserweight battle Saturday night. Cruiserweight's a division that always throws up some amazing fights. I was lucky enough to promote the Usyk versus Breedis war. And, you know, obviously Usyk went on to unify the division at cruiserweight. But this division throws up some of the greatest battles in boxing, and Saturday night will be another one.
Thank you, Kalle. Let's bring in Maurice Breidis. This is a big moment for you. This is a rematch, 2 years in the making. You did so well in the last fight. Of course, you broke Jai Opetaia's jaw. How are you going to get the job done on Saturday? How are you going to get that belt back?
Assalamu alaikum, Riyadh. Hello, everyone. Hello, VIP guests, and all the best for everybody who comes here. First of all, I want to say thank you, Turkey Al Sheikh, for organizing this tournament, and yeah, I'm very happy to be here. And I think all the boxers who is in this boxing show need to say thank you, Saudi Arabia. And Holyfield, Mr. Holyfield is very smart. When they fought with Mike Tyson, and when Mike Tyson bite his ear, then he make big business. And when we fight with Jai, and I fight and I crush his jaw, and I don't have so good managers who can bite these many jaws. But okay.
Okay, thank you, Maurice. I just wonder if you see Jai Opetaia there, do you have a message for Jai Opetaia?
For Jai Opetaia, really, I have big respect, because when we fought, I see real warrior in the ring, how he can fight with this big injury, and yeah, just big respect, and I hope in the ring win who is the stronger, who is the best boxer. That's why good luck for both of us.
Thank you very much. Let's bring in Jai Opetaia. A respectful tone there from Maurice Breidis. He gave you a hard fight for your first fight. What's changed between then and now? What's going to happen on Saturday?
Man, I feel like a whole different version of myself now. You know, I've picked it up a few levels. You know, I'm 28 now, just rolling into my prime. I feel like I'm the next generation of greatness coming through. You know, I look around and I see greatness everywhere, and I'm honoured to be in front of them. But it's my time now. I feel the next generation of greatness, and I told him that last fight.
I've heard you say, Jai, that you've probably gone from a boy to a man. So with that in mind, do you think you can hurt him and knock him out on Saturday?
I definitely feel a lot stronger, but the knockout punches come. We just got to fight smart, stick to our game plan, and do what we do best, and that's box.
Fantastic stuff. And he had quite a respectful message to you. Do you have one to Maurice Breidis?
Oh, I've got nothing disrespectful to say to Breidis. You know, I always say everywhere we go, we earn respect, we don't disrespect. So Saturday night, we earn the respect again.
Fantastic stuff. Thank you so much, Maurice. Thank you very much. Everyone at this top table, look at this. Some fantastic, thrilling fights on Saturday night. We will be back very, very shortly for Fury and Usyk.
Part 2 complete. Thanks, Deb. I appreciate you. Well, gents, let's first of all introduce our newest guest, Richie Waddle. No introductions needed. Voice of the boxing community. First of all, welcome to Saudi, my friend. Yeah?
Yeah, good, yes.
Taking it all in.
Yeah, it's fantastic, isn't it? An event like this,
the undercard's unbelievable, but obviously the main event is the cherry on the cake type of thing. But yeah, the undercard as well. There's some really, really good, close to judge fights who to pick. There's some really 50-50s in there.
It's been forgotten about a bit, Richie,
yeah,
on
exactly.
the undercard just
Yeah.
because they say the main fight.
You know, so yeah, it's good.
This is one of the only times I'll say I'm happy the press conference is kind of split like this, because we can actually take some time and actually recognise the talent that's up there, and we can break down in terms of that undercard. So let's talk about the cruiserweights first of all. Opetaia and Breeders. What do you kind of take away from there, especially? Are they going to pick up from round 13?
Well, yeah, they probably will. I thought Breedis was probably a little bit unlucky in the first one. I thought he got it. I think it was a great fight, and it could have gone either way. But I actually thought Breedis did enough to win the fight. He came on really strong in the second half of the fight, and he's 39 years of age, and so, like his manager says, you throw the age thing out the window. And Breedis, if you look, he's only been beaten by Jay Opetaia and also Oleksandr Usyk. And on one of those judges' scorecards against Usyk, it was even Steven. It was a 114-114 fight.
He gave Usyk a harder fight than anybody.
He's probably given him his hardest fight ever. So Breedis is a real class act. But I do like Jay Opetaia. Southpaw, got lots and lots of skills, and you know, he's maturing. Breedis is the more seasoned, I would say, cruiserweight, definitely. But Jay Opetaia is like a young lion, old lion situation.
I tell you now, one of my biggest achievements this week already, Carl, has been getting a smile from Jay Opetaia this week. I know. I was as surprised as everybody else. But in terms of the intensity that you see, you heard Richie allude to it there. Young lion in there. Do you see someone that wants to dominate this division?
He's ruthless. The kid's ruthless. I love everything about him, and I think one of the issues, well, there's a couple of issues for Breedis in this fight. He's getting older. He's 39 now. He's been inactive. He hasn't fought. I think the last fight that these guys had together was. Sorry, Breedis' last fight was against Opetaia, so he's getting a bit long on the tooth now. Opetaia is getting better, but this kid is ruthless. I think he is the future of the cruiserweight division, I mean, although the first fight was really, really good, I think it's going to be a difficult night for Breedis.
I think the bad thing for Breedis as well, being 39, he's been out of the ring for nearly 2 years. That was his last contest, you see. So he'll have had to have done some pretty hard spars. And when you're at that age, little niggles, they really take a long to get over those injuries and things like that. So it could be a tough night for Breedis. But again, I expect him to come strong later on in the contest because he's more seasoned.
Yeah. So you expecting his timing, because of his experience, to turn around and kick in the second half of the fight, kind of like we saw him around in the first fight between these two?
Say that again,
Are
sorry?
you looking for his timing and his experience to kick on in the second half?
Yes,
of the
exactly.
fight?
I think he will. He'll kick on and he'll want to finish strong, because Jay Opetaia, you see, he's only been, I think, 12 rounds. Has he been just the once against Breedis? So he's only been once. So he's not a seasoned pro. He's not a seasoned cruiserweight. He's a young kid that's coming through. So for me, for Breedis, he will be the more seasoned, and he'll want to come on strong. He will take him into those, what they call those muddy, dirty waters late on, deep waters late on in the fight.
Me and Carl alluded to this when we was off in terms of looking at the press conference. Cordina versus Kakachi is going to be an incredible fight.
Yeah.
Two technicians in there, two really, really incredible fighters at 130 pounds. What do you kind of take away from that?
Great fighters. It's a great fight. I think there's probably a bookie's favourite, and that'll be Cordina. Anto's IBO champion. Cordina's got an IBF title, which is the legitimate of the titles, but it's a difficult fight. I've sparred hundreds around with Anto Kakachi. His record doesn't really suggest it, but I've never been hit as hard in the gym. Like, frightening power. And if Anto gets it right on the night, and there's maybe a little bit of talk, people are suggesting, I'm not suggesting it, but people are saying maybe Cordina's a little bit tight in the weight. There was talk of him moving up to lightweight quite a while ago. Anto has a chance, and I think more than a small chance.
He was so optimistic all week, Richie. Anto came in here with passion, optimism, and a fuel in his eyes I haven't seen in a long, long time.
Yeah, I think potentially it's probably the upset of the night, this one, because most boxing fans will go for Cordina, but Kakachi at 35, he knows it's his last chance to be. He's an IBO champion, but to get one of those more recognised crowns, this will be his last chance. And he's a tough kid. Carl knows all about it and how hard he hits. So he not only hits hard, he's tough. and again, he's a seasoned pro. I think it's a great fight, because I've actually helped train Cordina when he was in the Olympics on the GB team. I know his skills, very quick off the mark, and he's very good at southpaw boxing. When he beat Rakhimov, he was bringing him onto the right hand, left hook. He's very good indeed. Anthony Kakachi can box both ways. He can go southpaw, he can go orthodox. So he's a clever kid. He's got a lot of talent. That could be, though, a potential banana stick skin for Cordina.
Something else, sorry, just before you go on, something else about Anthony Kakachi. He is, like Jai Apataya, he is ruthless. The kid is really ruthless, angry, a bit of a mean streak about him, which could help him this fight.
I don't want to describe John Fury as ruthless, because I know he hears everything that's said about him, but he's definitely stolen a few headlines this week. The Fury family have not made themselves shy around Saudi Arabia this week. What do you make of all of the antics? What do you take away? Because I know both of you have only just arrived. What was it like back in the UK? How was it well received?
I think it got everybody's attention, didn't it, at the end of the day? Not for the right reasons, but I think you're going to expect type of fireworks when it's anything to do with the Fury build-up anyway. It's unfortunate what's happened, but it certainly got the attention of a lot of people.
Yeah, look, it's unfortunate, but I mean, it probably shouldn't have happened, but we've seen a lot worse in boxing down through the years, so it's no surprise, really.
I want to talk about the heavyweights as well, just before we go to the main part of course, this press conference. Sanchez versus Caballel was going to be an incredible one. Caballel came here and stole the show in Saudi Arabia last time we were here for Day of Reckoning. He's looking like, again, he's got that inner confidence to turn around and say he's going to deliver once again.
You know, he's one of those heavyweights that's sort of under everyone's radar, really. And when he beat Makhmudov, that was a hell of a win. There was not many people that thought Caballel was going to win that fight. And the way he did it, the way he broke him down, the way he targeted his body, it was a terrific win. It really was. This is another good fight. Caballel, very underrated. Yeah, I like him, but it's a good fight. Sanchez, of course, come through the Cuban system. Over 200 amateur fights through the Cuban system, so a really good boxer. And you know what? They're both 31, both 24-0. It's very, very even, Stephen.
I know we only just got a glimpse of him there, but Tyson Fury, I have to give him one compliment. His fits this week have been impressive. I've liked the hats, I've liked the blazers, I've liked the shirts. Tyson, that's my compliment to you. What do you feel like he feels right now in terms of all of the energy that's building up inside of him?
Listen, I think Tyson Fury knows that he's in a really hard fight this time. I think it's all the razzmatazz, and you know that fuels him anyway. That's just the way Tyson is. But you know, he just goes with all that. But yeah, he's a character indeed. But he loves the hype, Tyson.
Someone that loves the hype, a voice that we recognise around the world is Michael Buffer, and he's getting ourselves ready for the main part of this press conference.
The most prestigious title in all of sports for over a century. This will be for the undisputed heavyweight championship of the world. So, ladies and gentlemen, behind me are the managers, promoters, and trainers. But let's meet the stars of the show at this time and bring them up for this press conference. Coming out first, a perfect professional record consisting of 21 fights, 21 victories, 14 wins by knockout. He comes to us from Ukraine. He's a former Olympic gold medal champion and the former undisputed, undefeated cruiserweight world champion. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the WBO, WBA, IBF, IBO heavyweight champion of the world, Oleksandr Usyk. Undefeated champion, Oleksandr Usyk. And now, ladies and gentlemen, coming up to the stage and to his seat for the press conference, he has a professional record of 35 fights, 34 victories, 24 big knockouts, 1 draw, from the United Kingdom, please welcome the two-time world heavyweight champion, the reigning, defending, lineal, ring, and WBC heavyweight champion of the world, the Gypsy King, Tyson Fury! Ladies and gentlemen, the stars are here in attendance and on the stage at this time. So let's keep going with the final press conference and turn it over to a superstar in his own right, our host for the press conference, Mr. Dev Sani.
Wow, thank you very much, Michael Buffett, superstar. Goodness me. 25 years, ladies and gentlemen, 25 years. The world has been watching, waiting, willing for there to be an undisputed world heavyweight champion. One king on the throne, one head to bear the crown. And now, on one special night, with one special fight, we will decide everything. Saturday night, right here in the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, we will crown the first undisputed world heavyweight champion of the century. Before we speak to the top table, I'd like to once again take a moment to thank those involved who are making these historic events possible as part of Riyadh's season. We would like to express our heartfelt thanks to the custodian of the two holy mosques, King Salman bin Abdulaziz, and to His Royal Highness, the Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman, and to His Excellency, the Chairman of GIA, Turkey Al-Sheikh. And a huge thanks to all of the teams of GIA, Riyadh Season and Seller as we continue to work together to deliver huge nights in the Kingdom. Now we're going to start with Hall of Fame boxing promoter Frank Warren, very much in the Tyson Fury business. Frank, this is history, this is iconic. The man stood next to you, sat next to you, can become undisputed on Saturday night. Tell us what's going on.
First of all, I'd like to thank the people who made this happen. This is such a... Has it gone off?
Hello, check one, two. Use my one, Frank.
Check. Okay, I'm going to have to come over here. Right, first of all, I'd like to thank the custodian of the two holy mosques, His Highness King Salman, the Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman, the Chairman of the GEA, His Excellency Turkey Al-Sheikh, for making this historic moment happen in boxing, the biggest fight of the 21st century. We thank you for all what you've done to make this happen in Riyadh. So this is a great fight. We all know that. It's the fight we've all been waiting for. The two best heavyweights in the world, both undefeated. This is something extra special. Fights like this come along once in a generation. And we got in the front row down there the last two guys to fight for the free belts at that time in 1999. Evander Holyfield, one of the greatest heavyweights of all time, and next to him Lennox Lewis, again one of the greatest heavyweights of all time. So now, who's going to be the greatest heavyweight of his generation? We're going to find out on Saturday when this fantastic fight happens. It's got everything that's required to make it not just a great boxing moment, but a very, very special moment in sporting history.
And Frank, you are very much backing your man Tyson Fury to get the job done, become undisputed, and you've also talked about an Achilles heel in Oleksandr Usyk. Tell us a little bit about this and why are you backing your man?
I'm backing my man because he's the best heavyweight in the world, and he's proved it time and time again. Going up against the odds every single time he's challenged for the title, he's gone up against the odds. He's been the underdog, gone to the other guy's backyard and done the business in style. He's never been beaten. 35 fights, not been beaten in any of them. He's just, for me, one of the best heavyweights I've seen in my time in boxing, and I believe he will confirm that on Saturday night in front of the world.
Thank you very much, Frank. Let's keep very much in the Tyson Fury business. Hall of Fame boxing promoter Bob Arum. Bob, you have promoted some of the biggest shows of all time. This is undisputed. This is the new undisputed king sat up here. This must be absolutely massive, even for you, Bob.
Well, in boxing, there's a saying that the most important division is the heavyweight division. And when we have the opportunity to have an undisputed heavyweight champion crowned, as we will Saturday night, it is something very, very significant. The last fighter to be crowned the undisputed champion is sitting out in the audience. It happened 25 years ago. Lennox Lewis became the undisputed heavyweight champion. Saturday night will be a very, very important night for boxing, because not only will we be crowning the undisputed heavyweight champion, but the two participants in the fight have never, ever lost a fight. Now, how rare is that? How great is that? That this fight on Saturday, which will be held here in the kingdom, in Riyadh, the eyes of the world, not just boxing fans, but fans and people all over the world will be focusing on the arena, on this fight, and believe me, it will be a great one.
And just finally, Bob, how does Tyson Fury beat Oleksandr Usyk?
How does what?
How does Tyson Fury beat Oleksandr Usyk?
How does Tyson beat Alexander Usyk?
The question for me is, how does Tyson Fury beat Usyk? And I would, in all humility, say that that is a question that should be addressed to Tyson and to Sugar Hill rather than a 92-year-old promoter.
Duly noted, Bob Arum, thank you very much. Let's head over to the Oleksandr Usyk side of the table. Let's bring in Alex Krasik. It is a historic moment for Team Usyk here, and of course you are very much backing your man to win this fight. You've gone into some detail as to how you think he will win on Saturday. Give us your thoughts.
Assalamu alaikum, ladies and gentlemen. All has been done. All has been accomplished. All has been spoken. One thing that can never be too much is gratitude. And I want to say thanks to the beautiful country, the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, and its wonderful people for the warm hospitality, even I would say hot hospitality. I want to say thanks to His Royal Excellency, His Royal Highness, Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman, and to His Excellency Turki Al-Sheikh for making fans' dreams come true. Thank you very much. There is only one assignment left, is to pick up this green belt and take it back home to Ukraine, the country it belongs to. Full stop. And if you allow me, please, I've got one short message for Tyson and his team, not to take it too close to the heart Saturday night and Sunday morning. I've got a short one from British Classics, if you don't mind, by Henry Longfellow. Be still, said heart, and cease repining. Behind the clouds is the sun still shining. Thy fate is the common fate of all. Into each life some rain must fall, and some days must be dark and dreary. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Alex Krasik.
Wait till the Longfellow gets into the ring.
Let's head over to the Tyson Fury part of the table and we'll get an instant reaction from the manager, of course, Spencer Brown. This is a big moment. The road to this fight hasn't been a smoothest one, but we are here now, just days away. Your reaction, of course, to Alex Krasik's message there and your thoughts heading into Saturday.
Yeah, his team are a good bunch of people. We've got a lot of admiration for him, so has Tyson. But come Saturday, that's all gone out the window. We've already butted heads with his team, and it looks like they're going to butt heads on Saturday night. And let me tell you, he's got a mountain to climb. You have a mountain to climb. Your Everest is your mountain to climb on Saturday. I'd like to thank everybody involved, and I would, if I was you, I wouldn't worry about poets and things like that. I'd worry about your man on Saturday night. Because Tyson Fury is coming to take all them belts away from you. All right? He's going to take all them belts away. And our English boys here have come all the way over from England, to see him take those belts. The Fury Army is here. And you will see on Saturday night us walking away with the belts. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Spencer Brown. Great message there. We can hear the Fury Army, we can hear the Usyk Army as well. We can hear you guys. Brilliant stuff. Let's head over to Egis Klimas, the manager for so long of Oleksandr Usyk. Your reaction to what you've heard so far here today, and of course your thoughts heading into Saturday night, the ultimate test for Oleksandr Usyk.
I'm sorry, the loud was very loud. I didn't hear much. Is that a question to me?
It's a question to you, Egis. Tell us your thoughts on this ultimate test, the mountain to climb for Oleksandr Usyk on Saturday night.
Well, it's not going to be walk in the park. You know, we have a two toughest heavyweights men in a division today, and Alexander proved 2 times. He broke to somebody's dreams. I'm not going to make a names. Everybody knows about it, and the goal is here to break another goals. That's easy. And I have only one question for Tyson Fury. How did he find himself a lineal champion? Let me ask you this. That's all I have. My message going to be to him. Everybody calls him a lineal, but I would like to know how he became a lineal. He beat Klitschko. Klitschko wasn't that time a lineal champion. Simple. Thank you very much. We'll guys see you Saturday night. Thank you, Saudi. Thank you, His Excellency. Thank you, Crown Prince, for bringing all of his events to Saudi and letting fans enjoy it. Thank you.
Thank you, Egis. Let's talk to the trainers. Let's get a little bit of tactics to the questions better addressed to the trainers than to Bob Arum, as he pointed out. Let's speak first to Serge Lapin. I mean, Oleksandr Usyk has faced many great men, but he's never faced anyone who's 6'9", maybe 50 pounds heavier, who can switch hits. How has it been like preparing for this man?
Assalamu alaikum, Saudi, всех витаю, Украина, everyone, hello. Эта подготовка началась еще с 2018 года.
This preparation started back in 2018.
Закончилась неделю назад.
And it finished just 1 week ago.
На сегодняшний день Александр готов к своему финальному поясу в супертяжелом весе.
And today, Oleksandr Usyk is ready for the final belt in the heavyweight division.
Ему не важен размер. Ему важен соперник, который будет стоять в противоположном углу.
The size does not matter to him. What does matter is the opponent who will stay in front of him.
И наконец-то бой будет здесь. Я бы хотел еще пожелать терпения Тайсону Фьюри, потому что это будет самая тяжелая ночь в его жизни.
And I would love to wish patience to Tyson, as it's gonna be the most difficult night of his life.
Okay, thank you very much, Serge Lapin. Let's go back to Team Fury. Sugar Hill, I'll bring you in here. I think it's quite extraordinary that 25 years ago, it was your uncle, Emmanuel Stewart, who was right next to Lennox Lewis as he challenged last time to become the undisputed. I heard you say at the Fury and Ngannou launch press conference that if Emmanuel was here, this is where he would be right now. Tell us how you're feeling heading into this iconic event.
Well, I'm feeling like exactly what you said, but it's a lot more sentimental for me, for the reason that this is what I was brought up around. I was raised around boxing my whole life, and watching many champions, and watching the Crunk legacy, and watching, you know, as the later years, Emmanuel being with Lennox Lewis and Vladimir Klitschko in the heavyweight division, that the heavyweight division, to me, is the division that runs boxing. It's the granddaddy division. It's the division that makes everything in boxing what it stands for. The biggest guys in boxing, the biggest men, battling each other, and you have Oleksandr Usyk, who's the #1 fighter, and you have Tyson Fury, who's the #1 fighter. You couldn't get any better than this. And this is just something that, like I said, Emmanuel, if he was alive, this is where he would be at right here, right now. And for me to be here in his place, I'm just so happy and blessed to be a part of it and to take what he has taught me over the years of my life, not just in boxing, but as a man, and growing up and being able to understand other men and people, and to be able to treat them with respect as I would want to be treated with respect. And this is just one of those times in my life where I just appreciate the things that I've been through in life. I think it's going to be a great fight. Oleksandr Usyk is one of the best heavyweights, one of the best boxers in boxing. He's been that for quite some time, and so has Tyson Fury. This is just the ultimate fight, two of the best ultimate fighters. Saturday night, May the 18th. I'm always going with my fighter, Tyson Fury, 100% for the knockout. It can be challenging, it can be confusing, it can be patient, but it's still going to be a knockout. That's what I believe, 100%.
Thank you very much, Sugar Hill. Brilliant stuff there. Let's bring in the fighters. Let's first speak to Oleksandr Usyk, the unified world heavyweight champion. Oleksandr, I have heard you say that you have been preparing for this moment for 22 years. Now we are just days away. This is the man sat in your way. Tell us how you're feeling.
Salam alaikum. Hi everybody, people. I'm happy to be here. I'm excited. I'm grateful for His Excellency Mr. Turkey and who this fight happened. Let's make history. Enough. Thank you so much.
Well, Oleksandr, I'm hoping you'll take a few more questions. What was it that you drew? I saw you drawing something while everyone up here was talking. You had your pen, you had your paper, you drew something and put it in your pocket. What was it?
It's my homework. Understand, yeah?
Your homework. Any more detail?
It's my remember and it's poem.
Could you show it to us?
No, now no. Later.
Okay, let's bring in the WBC lineal world heavyweight champion Tyson Fury. I've heard you speak about quite... I've heard you speak quite philosophically about this fight as well, how every twist and turn, every high and low, every up and down has led to this moment right here. We're now just hours away from it. Tell us how you're feeling, Tyson.
I'm going to make this short and simple. I want to thank God for the victory that I've received already, and I want to thank everybody involved in putting this massive event on. I want to thank Usyk for turning up and challenging me. And that's about it. Thank you to all the fans who travelled over to support me, because I know it's tough times at the moment and money's hard, so I aim to put on a show. Thank you very much. God bless.
Tyson, I'm hoping you'll take a couple more questions from us. I mean, what would it mean to beat this man? You've described him as the toughest fight of your career. It would be, I guess, the best win of your career.
I'm ready. I've got nothing to say apart from I'm ready for a good fight. And if it's tough or easy, either way, I'll be ready.
Okay, all right. Thank you very much, Tyson Fury. Just one more from you, Tyson. Just a message to Oleksandr Usyk. Anything you want to say to him before Saturday?
God bless him. And I'll say a prayer for him before we walk out, and we both get out the ring in one piece and go home to our families, because that's what it's about.
Fantastic stuff. Oleksandr, do you have a message for Tyson?
Let your hand talk in the ring.
Okay, Oleksandr Usyk and Tyson Fury both are going to let their fists do the talking on Saturday night. It is the fight of the century. The first undisputed world heavyweight champion will be crowned right here in Riyadh on Saturday. Do not miss it.
I love the intensity, and this is very few times I'm going to say this, because very few words between the fighters. We expected that. We kind of labelled it a little bit earlier on that there wouldn't be maybe fireworks or animosity between them, but what I do sense up there is two intense guys ready to turn around and achieve their destiny.
Two very intense guys that know they're in a real fight. This is a genuine 50-50 fight, and I think more so with Tyson Fury, the way he responded there, he knows that this will be the hardest fight of his career. He's got the tools to win it, no doubt, in my opinion anyway, but he knows this will be a really tough fight. You could just tell.
Yeah, it was very, very tense. Not a lot said. I mean, guys clearly have a lot of respect for each other, but it's just getting close to fight time now. There's not a lot more that can be said, and I think both of them probably understand that, and they're both probably just excited now about getting the fight on.
I'm so impressed with just the level of animosity and the way they've controlled that, because there's a lot of hype, there was a lot of noise around this sort of spectacle, but it seems now you've got two high-level fighters, very respectful, that understand what's in front of them and what they need to do to achieve their goals.
Yes, and deep down I think they probably really respect each other. You know, if you look at the way Usyk boxes, he's like a magician. He really is a genius on his toes. Movement's going to be absolutely crucial for him. But you know, he's a good mover. Out-and-out counter-puncher on his front foot, makes you miss and then makes you pay. And Tyson Fury, he really has the tools to beat anyone in the world because of the height and reach. He has the physical advantages. When he doesn't want to get hit, Tyson Fury, he's very, very good at staying away from an opponent, making them come over the front foot, and then he catches them as they come. He's not only good on his back foot, he'll go forward, he can rough him up on the inside. He's probably got a few more answers than what Usyk has, actually, so it's going to be a cracking fight.
Mind games here, Carl.
Yeah, Tyson doesn't want to look at him. I think it looks maybe he's going to turn and look, maybe not. No, I don't think so. This is interesting, isn't it? We'll get a proper head-to-head, I think, after the weigh-in.
I'm almost intrigued as to what the message Tyson Fury is trying to send to Oleksandr Usyk by doing something like this. You've been in a fighter's shoes, both of you have achieved in terms of the highest level. What message is he trying to send by not even giving them the respect of acknowledging him there?
I think with Tyson Fury, they're both very experienced. They've seen it all before. And so, if anything, you can burn up nervous energy when you go with a face-off to your opponent a couple of days beforehand. You know, look at Usyk there, his eyes are transfixed on Tyson Fury, but Tyson's not having any of it. He's seen it all before. He's just waiting for the bell to go now, Tyson.
Just looking here, them eyes are burning right through the side of Tyson Fury's head. Like it's really, really interesting. Oh, he's still looking. He's trying to get a reaction, but nothing from Big Tyson.
But this is Tyson's personality. This right here epitomizes Tyson Fury and why the world loves him. Because he can, in the biggest moments, seem so relaxed. It seems like he's enjoying
Well,
this.
he does seem relaxed, and if anything, Oleksandr Usyk there is trying to look into the eyes of Tyson Fury, trying to get anything out of him at all. But of course, he didn't look at him, so he can't get nothing from him, can he? Because the eyes tell you everything, and unfortunately, Tyson wouldn't give anything away there.
I have to give Usyk the credit because we won't see him again probably till tomorrow, but he is well dressed. He did come dressed the part. I will give him that part. If I gave Tyson Fury his flowers for his dress code, then I have to give Oleksandr Usyk his flowers for the same in kinds. But what do you take from that? Look, they're gonna have to now look. Tyson's getting himself ready now with Sugar Hill. What did you make of what Sugar Hill is in terms of what he said up there? Legacy, and he's been here before.
He understands it. I thought Sugar Hill was maybe going to mention the fact that the last time there was a unified heavyweight champion was an undisputed heavyweight champion was Lennox Lewis. Emmanuel Stewart was in the corner. That fight was against a former cruiserweight champion in Evander Holyfield, similar to what's going on here. He didn't mention it, but I think he will have learned a lot from his uncle, Manny Stewart. I mean, one of the best trainers boxing has ever produced. Man full of wisdom, and I think that he's passed a little bit of that knowledge, more than a little bit, on to Sugar Hill.
And I think Sugar Hill was probably more emotional than anyone there,
I think so.
because of his father has been in that position, and now as a trainer he's in that position, so that's an achievement in itself, isn't it, as a father-son?
It shows you what this fight means to
Incredible.
people when you've got a coach. A few cracks in his voice there, and certainly a very, very emotional speech from him, but it just shows you the magnitude of this fight. And it was mentioned a couple of times up there, this is history making.
Richie, you tell me all the time, and when we spend some quality time together, about the inches, especially at this high level, the little things that you can do to get an advantage. Having someone whose family has been in this situation before, and the gems he would have picked up from Emmanuel Stewart, does that give Tyson a little extra confidence then?
I think Tyson's confident in his whole camp, to be quite honest. He's very confident in his own ability. He's very confident in Frank Warren. He's very confident in his manager, Spencer Brown, and also obviously his trainer, Sugar Hill Stewart. I think it's a really successful camp, isn't it? And it's brimming with confidence. And I know that Tyson will take that confidence, and he's got to take that confidence into the ring on Saturday night.
I'm going to take his words away. I'm ready. What did you kind of make of it when he said, I'm not going to be given the long spills, no singing, no facade, what we're used to and we've seen with Tyson Fury. Just very simple. I'm ready.
I like that. I don't think there's any need. At this stage, I mean, whatever he's going to say now, it's not going to sell any more pay-per-view buys. Anybody that wants to watch the fight will be watching the fight, and I think Tyson and Usyk know that. They understand that. I don't think they need to say too much. Short and simple from both guys. And to be honest, I quite like it.
I do like it. I do like it. Look, we can turn around and just touch on one more thing before we throw, because Andy Clark is backstage right now, and he's got a very special person with him. Andy.
Tyson, I won't keep you long. You chose not to look at Oleksandr out there. Are you saving it all for tomorrow?
He's a scary-looking dude.
We said on Monday it's about the controllables in a way. That part of camp is over. Is it now about just trying to stay as relaxed as you can?
Yeah, I'm just here to relax now and just wait till I get in there in the ring on Saturday night. All the talking's done, all the interviewing's done. Really relaxed and focused.
At what point do you really flip that switch to go into fight mode?
Whenever I decide to.
Okay, we'll let you go. I think you've done enough talking for this week. I'll tell you what, fellas, with the wind whipping in off the desert, it does really feel like the storm clouds of war are gathering here. Neither of them really had a lot to say. Back to you, JD.
I'm going to trust that Andy Clark's words were of excellence. I mean, I know how much broadcasting he's done, so I can only imagine the questions that he was asking Tyson man there. But again, very short response from Tyson. Not doing a lot of media, and you were talking about it here. We were talking about it. Not exerting too much energy at this stage.
Doesn't need to waste it.
Doesn't need to waste it at all. In these situations, it's energy sapping, especially in this heat. So he's played it really cool there, relaxed, calm, I like that approach from Tyson Fury. Obviously, the fireworks are great, you know, with Tyson that we've seen in the past. But that approach there, it just shows, I think, that he's serious.
Yeah, well, look, we're well into the night here now, and it's still 35 degrees outside. It's really, really hot. There's no need for Tyson or Oleksandr Usyk to be hanging around too long doing interviews. They need to be in an air-conditioned room somewhere and conserve energy.
I want to talk about the managers, because while the fighters were very focused and respectful as well, I'm not saying the managers weren't respectful, but it seemed like a little bit of needle between the two camps there. Even Richie's smiling. That lets me know that he saw it too.
Yeah, I did see it. I think they both probably thought it was going so smoothly that they had to, especially Spencer, I think he had to stoke it up a little bit, Spencer Brown. And rightly so, you know, at the end of the day, let them sort of do the talking as well. So yes, I thought it was going too smoothly, and then Spencer says a few things, and they both obviously exchange words. They both obviously want to win. It's a really big occasion for them as well. They've got to stay calm, and you know, at the end of the day, and just make sure that their boxer stays calm. So if they're calm, the boxer's going to be calm.
And a nice bit of poetry and everything from Alex Krasiuk. I think that by a poet called
go on, Carl.
Longfellow.
Okay.
Yeah, but I'm not going to steal this on Darren Fletcher. He said it to me. He said the reply should have been, the only Longfellow you've got to worry about is Tyson Fury.
And that's exactly what Frank Warren said. Now it makes sense in terms of the full circle moment there. So in terms of Frank Warren, because he seems to be enjoying this moment, thinking about it now, I think that's the first time I saw Frank really recognise what's happening here in terms of the legacy of this fight.
Yeah, you know, and also Bob Arum and Frank Warren, they just know the magnitude of this contest, and they're involved in it in a massive way. So it's big all round, isn't it? And it's history at the end of the day, and we're just hoping it's going to be a fantastic fight.
I wanted to come here and turn around and talk about advantages and who maybe had a mental edge after the press conference, but you tell me, is there any takeaways? Did you take anything away from
nothing. No, absolutely nothing. To be honest, I never really do. I think that it's really kind of, once the weigh-in's over, fight day's really where it starts to. I'm not a great believer in people winning battles at press conferences or even weigh-ins and head-to-heads. I think the winning's done on the night, and I don't think any of these guys will be too bothered.
I'm looking forward to both of your analysis on the broadcast, because it's going to be brilliant, as it always is. But one thing that was alluded to there in the press conference is the size difference. Do you think size will be a factor? And size and length are two different things, as you guys know.
I think so. I think that the Fury's massive. He's a big guy, but he's very smart as well. He knows how to box. He knows how to fight. He can switch hit. I think that Usyk's, I mean, you got to look at Usyk's game plan. It has to be to move. It has to be to hit him, pot shot and move around. If Fury can get close, I imagine he's going to try and manhandle him. And I think at some stage, it's going to sap a lot of energy. It's going to sap a lot of energy from Usyk, and I think that's what Tyson will be looking to do. Fight aggressively on the front foot, high output, and put it on him.
I think there's more problems to solve for Usyk than there is Tyson Fury, to be quite honest. Because Tyson, I heard Lennox Lewis earlier say Tyson's got to box big, got to stand up tall. If he decides to stand up tall, he can switch orthodox and southpaw as well. If he leans back, then he's even further away from the target. Big long jab. It's difficult for a smaller man then to break that gap down. But Usyk, remember, is a genius on his feet. He's very, very quick. He'll feint, he'll sidestep, he'll go in at different angles. And I'm expecting a high work rate from Oleksandr Usyk. I think he's got to. And I think he'll target his body. So don't be surprised if there's big uppercuts coming from Fury early in the fight.
Are you expecting a lot of adjustments? I'm talking in-fight adjustments. Maybe how the first 4 rounds aren't necessarily how the middle rounds are.
Potentially, but they've got 2 good trainers as well who'll be able to direct them and help them and maybe change tactics. But look, both these fighters as well are very, very smart. If they need to make adjustments themselves, if things aren't working, I imagine they can work it out for themselves and adapt to how they have to.
That's why they're the best in the world. If you watch the way they box, they tend to adapt to the opponent in front of them, then adopt a style to suit that. So they adapt to the situation that's in front of them. Sometimes I think they're probably going with a set of tactics, but it'll chop and change as the fight goes on. And the really good fighters like these are at the top of the game, they can adjust to the opponent, but they're in against the opposite that could do the same. So that's what makes it fascinating, this one.
I just want to get a personal touch on both of you before we turn around and close this wonderful broadcast. How are you taking this all in? I know you've both come from a long way. I know we've been talking about it. We've been talking about it for months. But looking at the world's media here, looking at the noise, and as Spencer alluded to, the UK boys that's here as well. How are you both taking in this occasion?
I'm loving it. We're loving it. I think as a genuine boxing fan, this is what you want to see in terms of one winner, an undisputed champion. This should happen in every division for me. Yeah. There's obviously 4 major crowns out there that are recognised as world champions, but if you get an undisputed champion in the division, it's what everyone wants to see. It's what the boxing public wants to see. It's what we want to see. So I think there should be more of these type of fights, this situation.
Like Richie says, we're boxing fans first and foremost. That's what we are. And we're lucky enough to do a job like this that allows us to be involved in some of the biggest occasions, and then even luckier that we're getting paid to do it. I mean, this is, as a boxing fan, a dream come true to be here, to be watching this. I mean, I imagine I'll be talking to my grandkids about this in 30 years' time.
No doubt about it, and it's been a pleasure, both of you gents, to be on the broadcast with you and to take this in. 25 years we've been waiting, and we're only 2 sleeps away from working out who will be the king of the heavyweight division, and of course who will walk away with the undisputed crown. Tyson Fury, Oleksandr Usyk, Ring of Fire. We'll see you there.